Jenny and
You goddamn little. Ow! Fuck me in the goat ass.
What's up, everyone?
Where's
Tin
Denny?
Man with the Resistance. If you're watching this, you are the Resistance. And you know, we're all a bunch of tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy theorists. I just decided to one up and go full helmet. So fuck it. I'm
Gotta protect
so
yourself.
desensitized right now. I'm just gonna play video games and numb my fucking brain or what's left of it.
Why not?
Exactly. I mean, the Pope's dead. Nobody cares.
Not supposed
JD
to
Vance allegedly killed him. I love that quote, conspiracy theory. JD Vance allegedly killed the Pope. But you know, Alex Jones is right. You don't call it a conspiracy theory. You just call it a fucking baseless rumor.
Pretty much. Just baseless rumor.
You
But
call
there
it
are
what
more
it is,
relevant
actually.
things.
I mean, what those? I mean,
There are more relevant things
they can
going
call,
on in the
they can
world.
call it whatever they want.
Well, that's the thing. Like the Pope being dead, like we're not going to sit here and like fucking grandify it or anything like that. But I'll touch on the symbolism, the simple things. Like there's a bunch of people in the world that look at him as a figurehead, much like a president, much like other religions. You got the Ayatollah in Islam, right? You got people for other religions. I'd say, okay, that guy's dead.
He's dead. Moving on.
Their symbolism.
Third time. It's the third time since '78 that Pope died while in.
Yeah.
Because John Paul the First.
It doesn't
John Paul
happen
the First.
all the time yet.
Yeah.
Lay down. Stop being.
I'm playing fucking Mario Kart.
If you think about it, John Paul the First only lasted 33 days.
Right.
And what's 33? And what's 33?
Listen, let me make a point very clear here. When it comes to the Pope, this is literally how interested I am.
He's going to go throw some turtle shells at cars.
Yes.
There you go.
You got the classic Mario Kart going here. That is like how little of a fuck I give about the Pope. Because there's more relevant things to be going on in the freaking world right now. Connor, you and I were talking before the roundtable went live. Why don't you go ahead and tell everybody what you heard about what China did?
Yeah, so
Chinese food.
There's always one big story that covers a mediocre story or a story that would be big if people just talked about it, right? Like yesterday, China decided that they're going to play with their big toys and push a few buttons and see how things go. Normally, that's no big deal, but the button they pushed worked, and it went boom, and they totally detonated a hydrogen bomb yesterday. That's what that video is that I dropped in the roundtable there. So it's very intriguing. Like, and if you just YouTube it, like there's just a shit ton of videos about it coming from different media sources. So it's like, okay, well, certain people are talking about it, other people aren't, but they did it. So that's cool. Why? Well, actually, I was just about to touch that with him, and then we decided, like, hey, maybe we should zip it so we're not recycling the story within ourselves. But my opinion on why they did it is, if they want to take Taiwan, because remember when all this was beginning, we were talking about war drills and China invading Taiwan, and we used to talk about like why they would want to take Taiwan and was there a beneficial reason, and I broke down that it was the microchip. It's a microchip war. It's the processors. It's all the good nonsense that Taiwan ships out to the democratic nations that they don't ship out to other nations that would like access to this, because people don't get it. You say microchip, they think computer, they think cell phone. You say microchip, I think guidance systems for missiles. I think all of the computers that are involved in the military side. I think big toys that require microchips. And Taiwan produces a very large amount of them. And China wants to control that market. This is why they want Taiwan. It's not about culture, and Taiwan's not a very China's not this very big religious country, so it's not like they're going back to take, for religious purposes. This isn't like Russia where we're going back to take the motherland. It's a fucking island, so it's not like we're just expanding the line to the coast because that used to be mine, so I'm just going to take it again. No, Taiwan's an island, right? So it's been independent, state independent. From what I understand, it's democratic. It shares everything that it has with Canada, the United States, other democratic nations. Normally, and at this point, when I speak Democrat, they're like, don't get your shit twisted. I'm not talking Democrat and Republican. I'm talking democracy, the right to a free vote, the right to have somebody fucking soil that vote or tamper with that vote or fucking buy that election, or literally the sheer fact that your country has an election that can be purchased is a very good start, because most countries, there's other countries that don't even have an electoral process that could be tampered with. So taking democracy on its ugliest day, right, and taking into consideration all of its faults. But yes, democratic nations work with each other. And that's what Taiwan is. And China is like, no, man, I don't really want to do that. And there's a thing, okay? There's a thing here with Taiwan, and it's that it's tidal. I don't know all the ins and outs. I understand what's being explained to me, but I can't tell you like the day, the time, and like when it's going to, because in essence, from what I understand, Taiwan sits in an area that is extremely hard to geographically invade. You don't just up and go and take Taiwan, even though when you look on a flat two-dimensional map, that you got this thing here, and this should just really be easy to just go to. It's not. Otherwise, the Chinese would have done it a long ass time ago. But apparently, the tides have to be in their favor. And the tides is only in their favor 2 times a year. And one of those times a year is coming up. Now,
You mentioned that a few times in the past about the tides.
yes, now all of a sudden this bomb goes off and they're calling it a test. I don't think people understand the meaning of test, and it's not because I think I'm better than anybody. It's not that. I think in a different direction. Okay? It's a fucking hydrogen bomb. We all know that when it goes boom, it's going to destroy anything and everything around it. Like, I don't need to test that. We all know it's going to happen. We have literally a ridiculous amount of literature and shit that says this. So why test the hydrogen bomb? Unless you're testing a theory, a physics theory. If you can only invade,
this is going in an interesting direction.
Okay, if you're looking to invade Taiwan, right, and your stopper is the tide. Okay, we're all grown men. What's the tide? What does that mean? A low tide,
ships can sail.
Low water. A high tide is high water. If you can only invade during a high tide, it means you require high water. Well, how am I going to?
They're trying to lower the sea floor so that they can invade.
If you put all your boats around the country where you strategically want them to invade, right? And then you go X amount of nautical miles out into the ocean, and you detonate a hydrogen bomb that will create a ridiculous fucking wave. How far do I have to detonate the bomb where I only have the energy wave of the water coming in and not the destructive power of the blast wave? So how far and how big does the bomb need to be so that the residual effect of this bomb is a wave, and this wave will duplicate or mimic the necessary high tide for an invasion? If I have this information, the Taiwanese invasion will go as soon as the hydrogen bomb goes off in the ocean at a specific magnitude, at a specific distance, where the physics will dictate that the remaining energy left at the very most outskirts of the blasts, which will no longer be detrimental to the ships and crew on board, where these sailors will only have to navigate a quickly rising tide. And they'll have to be able to move quickly. That's why we're using soldiers and not just idiots. And they'll have to disembark before the waterline recedes again. The shit's the stuff you see in movies.
Yeah.
But that's the military plan. That would be the most advantageous, rational reason behind why I would test a weapon of mass destruction. It's not to find out exactly how many people it's going to kill. I'm figuring something.
We already know the specs.
That's right.
So they want to make sure it works for whatever they plan to use it for, obviously.
So it's like
you're going to have nuclear weapons, you want to make sure your shit works regardless of the reasoning.
That's right. And a lot of the time it's just you want to check yield, you want to check damage, you want to check, and all of that makes sense to me. But this was it's kind of funny because it's almost like the Chinese went eco-friendly. They used a hydrogen bomb over water.
Yeah, that is rather interesting.
Right, and so it's like because it's not a nuclear device, it's not a nuclear bomb. It's for lack of a better word, it's an atomic bomb. An atomic bomb. They're just splitting the hydrogen molecule or the hydrogen atom or whatever the fuck leads to a bigger boomer. At this point, the science escapes me.
Yeah, I don't pretend to be an expert on big boomy bombs.
Well, exactly, right.
All I know is they go big boom.
Exactly. They make big holes.
I don't know shit.
Right? So that happened. Right? So it's like the Pope dying is unfortunately just a great cover story to the fact that the Chinese just exploded a fucking hydrogen bomb. This isn't like a couple of missiles in the desert here. And this was one of the big ones done by one of the quiet countries in a relatively open way, like nonchalantly, like, hey, look at my bombs. So that was hair raising, and the interesting thing was that the last roundtable we had, like I said, I kind of closed it off with, well, we'll just let another week go by and we'll have some things to talk about. And here we go, the fucking Chinese are detonating hydrogen bombs. The Pope is fucking dead. I'm sure if we dig a little deeper, there's probably is at least 2 more stories that we don't know about. Like all of my fucking spam ridiculous articles is telling me that the Houthis actually fucking hit American vessels. So that's telling me that the Americans are about to go fucking big boomer. Like I think it's gonna go nuclear. I think they're gonna step over one. Right. So everybody's like, well, if it goes nuclear, it's going to be tactical nukes on the battlefield. Right. That's normally what people will say. And those aren't like city killers and those aren't right. And I get that. Right. And I hear that argument. And honest to goodness, that makes sense in a A and B conflict where it's really just 2 countries and they're just going to level out this and level out that. And right. Like that makes sense to me. Tactical nuclear weapons to maybe level out 500 tanks, right? Okay, I get it, but we're global. Like the conflict it's global. As soon as the Canadians and Americans start shooting each other, there's a war on every continent.
Yep.
Right? As soon as the Americans start shooting at the cartels in a very serious way, which I know that's what the plan is. There'll be a continental conflict on our continent as well, just because the Canadians and the Americans aren't at full-blown bloodlust war with each other. Doesn't mean there won't be bloodshed between the cartels, their government, the Mexican government, the American government, the American people, the fucking gangsterisms. It's all gonna go fucking south in that direction.
It's a lot of shit.
Right, it's a lot of shit.
Welcome back.
There we go. Welcome back.
Everything okay, brother?
I'm back. Yeah.
So
my dad gave me a new phone, and it's a cat phone. It's a Caterpillar S62.
Is that what you're using the screen right now?
No. It's a rugged phone.
Okay. Well, the reason I'm asking is because You seem to be more in real time right now. Are you using a different device this time around?
No, I'm using my computer.
Okay, so maybe it's just the amount of people we have on the round table that's causing that lag for you.
Could be.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
But
we have
the
problem
phone my
with
dad gave me is a cat phone. It has 62. It's a rugged phone. And well, I mean, the phone can be used by anybody. If you're a park ranger, the military, well, that too, you know.
He got it. He fucking got me.
Yeah, I did. But you know, but it's missing the part where you charge it and shit.
Yeah.
So I've been using my Galaxy S9 for the past 2 weeks and shit. And stuff. So
nice.
So we just got done talking about China, and Grandmaster Connor, you may not be aware of this, but Grandmaster and I had a conversation just the other day, touching base on the stabbing that took place in Texas. We don't mention the kid's name because one, they're underage, and two, we don't want to give the alleged perpetrator, and I say alleged perpetrator because innocent until proven guilty, we don't want to give them any sort of recognition. We don't want to give any sort of perpetrator any sort of recognition.
Yeah, you don't want to give.
That's what they want. They want their
satisfaction.
10 seconds of fame, and we won't give them their 10 seconds of fame. We'll talk about the topic, but we won't.
Is that the one?
The parties involved, for various reasons, will remain anonymous.
Is that the one that's all the
yeah,
right now with the whole like race?
The stabbing that happened at that school event. Yes.
His mom and dad raised
we
money. Nearly $1 million, but they spent like $800,000 on a house and shit.
Yeah, they got a nice house.
And
He's got a nice car. He's in a gated community now. He's kind of protected. I don't know if they spent anything on attorney's fees yet. But to recap, what we did,
it wasn't GoFundMe. It was there is money on Gifts and Go, not GoFundMe. It's called Gifts and Go and stuff like that. So
I've never heard of that app, and I found out that a bunch of that money came from Soros groups, all at once,
Soros
or back to back,
and BLM. Soros
yep.
and BLM.
So it's all psyop shit, just like we were talking about the other day. It's psyop shit to try to provoke quote unquote white people and conservatives to anger in order to get them to slip up.
Yes, it's not just clickbaiting; it's also gaslighting. You know?
It's Sandy Hook all over again. If you use the wrong words to describe it, we'll be in court for the next 15 years.
Yeah.
It's
yeah, and the electric company's already fucking trying to rape me on my fucking utility bill. I got a fucking $1,000 utility bill.
Right, like a real.
And all I do is have electric. Like, what the fuck do I have a $1,000 utility bill for? What am I fucking running an electric chair in here or something? No, I'm dead serious. I've got a $1,000 electric bill because apparently the guy who reads the fucking meters, even though it's a digital meter, apparently wasn't coming out and reading the meters, and he was embellishing the results. So apparently I owe more than what I had paid for the past several months, and it equates to like $1,000. But I've been talking to a lot of people online.
Is it analog? Is it analog or e-meter?
It's not analog. It's a digital meter. I don't know if it's a smart meter. I took a picture of it, ran it through Google search. It says it's most likely not a smart meter, but it is a digital meter. But apparently, I've talked to some people on the local public forums in my community, some of the local community forums. A lot of people have been experiencing this problem, but it seems to me that this is becoming an issue of fraud, because with the amount of people that are speaking up in regards to this issue, it seems like Winchester Utilities in southern Middle Tennessee is maybe pulling some shady shit.
I think what's happening here, now that I understand what's taking place, I think a real event is taking place. Real people got hurt. That created the fanfare. By creating the fanfare, you create the quote unquote call to action. Normally, when you create a call to action, this is where the GoFundMe's and the this and the that, they all come into play.
Yeah.
Why does any of that matter? Y'all, this is what we as individuals, we need to stop doing. Okay. If you want to help support a family of a travesty, I want you guys to do your due diligence. I want you to do. I want you to do. Did you hear that? That was some fucking Muppets shit just came out of me. What I want you to do is exactly what the bad people would do. I want you to find out where these people live by any means necessary. Find out where the family lives. Once you have that address, off dog, you send them a little bit of money. You send them a check. You send them some chocolates. You take care of them in the best way that you know how. Cut out the middlemen. Cut out the donations. And I'm going to tell you why. Down.
Because money off the books can't be made into a media circus.
Why does George Soros always have
money.
a reason to donate money? Because once the money's donated, it's a tax.
Grandmaster, Revan, you got a thought?
Go for it.
I got Monopoly money.
Right?
There you go. Send them Monopoly money.
Right, but so
everybody send this kid your Monopoly money.
Right. So think about it though. Every time, okay.
What's the letter? Get a fucking job.
Right. It's.
Oh, he don't get a job right now. He ought to be gladiating in Arizona. He'll be wearing a pink jumpsuit.
If it's a real event that people really got hurt, and you really want to stand behind them, then you take care of their families one-on-one. You take care of it. You do it. But we got to stop grandizing these donations, these GoFundMe's, these what? Why? Because every time a bad event, regardless of the event, we can use an earthquake here, right? It doesn't matter. Every time there's a bad event, these rich billionaires, they have a direction to donate their money. And when you donate your money to charity, it's a tax write-off.
Yeah.
So so we just gotta like and stop encouraging these kinds of ways of taking care of the victims, so that these large corporations stop using the victims' tragedies as their tax write-off accounts.
Yeah, well, not just that. It's evidently a George Soros-funded PSYOP program. They're using this to perpetuate tensions and potentially push somebody over the edge to the point that they actually do something stupid. Because all it takes is one person, and that's Jenga.
Yeah.
And that's what Revan and I were talking about the other night. Don't get stupid. See this for what it is and keep a level head. Because if you fight in anger, you will lose the fight. You will slip up and you will lose the fight.
I can't see it being PSYOP for only one reason. If I'm not mistaken, is the perpetrator still alive?
He was. The perpetrator is still very much alive. He's out on bail, reduced bond by 25%. His bail was dropped from $1 million to $250,000, and the money raised for his court costs and all that, for all of his legal fees, most of which has been used on a new car, allegedly, and a new house in a gated community.
Yeah, the reason why I take PSYOPs off the table is that in a PSYOPs, that guy's dead. Normally the perpetrator is dead, right? Because the ability to speak is removed from the perpetrator, so they can't declare MK Ultra. They can't declare that they did it against their free will.
The thing is, a PSYOP can go both ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sure it can, absolutely.
And
Traditionally, we see that guy
this would
dead.
be considered. This would be considered a same shit you see 5 years ago.
Yeah.
We need justice.
And this time, the psyop isn't killing a bunch of kids in a school. It's an alleged murder. It's a murder that took place.
The guy just killed, the little fucker just killed another student.
Yeah.
Put him in fucking prison.
With the amount of witnesses that there are to say he did it, it wasn't self-defense. And I think the psyop is not that he killed the kid. It's the psyop is going to be that he killed the kid, gets off scot-free, and that's going to provoke somebody to kill him. At which point, George Floyd all over again.
Absolutely. Dude, okay, do you want to know what the pretext of... Remember when we covered the cops that got killed in Canada?
Go for it.
Okay, well, way back when, there was a bunch of police officers that were shot and killed by a guy in Canada. We covered this, like, to the teeth, like, when it was happening. Anyway, the point here I'm making is that the reason why the guy was shooting at the police was because the police officers shot and killed his cousin, and they walked on the charges. They were charged. They were held criminally liable, so on and so forth. Everything was quote unquote done by the book. But when all was said and done, they walked and they were cleared. And then this guy went on a murderous rampage and just fucking started shooting the ones that were responsible for killing his cousin. So when you tell me that, like, this guy hurt this guy and then now he's still alive and they're going to let him walk so that somebody else hurts him and that's going to cause a pretext, dude, that's not unforeseeable at all. That makes like one.
And initially it was propagated, and Alex Jones harps on this all the time, that it was going to be a psyop on the Mexicans, given the border shit. Hence why I'm wearing a sombrero right now.
But isn't it like a black kid, white kid situation? Isn't that what the story was?
Yes. But,
so it's not like black Mexican, white Mexican. Like it's
no,
there should be no cartel attachment to a story like this.
Well, here's the thing. Initially, the idea was, have somebody kill some Mexican protesters and protest the immigration bullshit. Well, what if that was just a distraction? And this is the real psyop. This shit with this kid.
It has the
now the mask comes off.
And
we see the potential real game.
And we're about to find out now if we were right. Last week we talked about how they were going to try and make the white and the black community not like each other.
Yep.
And then I went on this whole rant about like how like black Christians and white Christians and Muslims and I went on a tear for like a solid 30 minutes, I think. Right? And here it is. They're trying the race one right now. They're trying it right now. Right? Yep. Very much. And you know what's ridiculous? I was actually explaining to one of my children upstairs what the term false flag meant. And I explained how there was 3 definitions to that, like that context could mean 3 different things. And I thought it was like the most obvious one is just a bold lie. I was like, the shit just never happened. Lusitania event. It just never happened. Somebody lied about something, and then governments made decisions on a lie. I was like, that's one. Yep. That's a false flag. 2, when a government does something to its own people and then points the finger at somebody else, I was like, that's also a false flag. I was like, but we have a hard time with theorists to rationalize the third one. The third one is the one that got Alex Jones in trouble. The third one is what's happening right now that holds the power to get a lot of theorists in trouble. The third false flag definition is when something atrocious happens. The government had nothing to do with it. Nothing. It just went sour. But now that it's sour, we're going to use it. Example, government had nothing to do with the Sandy Hook school shooting. There are children that were dead. The school shooting really happened. It all went sour. But now that it's sour, let's enact some gun control. Let's save these kids. This Nobody
Let's
did
capitalize on the situation.
Exactly.
That's the third one. This and this is what people are observing.
What it is, it was a drill. It was a drill. Yeah.
Yeah, it happened. Real people died.
The CNN made the drill look like it actually happened. Okay, if it happened, how come the kid who was in it, he was dead for 2 days? 2 days. Him and his mom were dead for 2 days before it even allegedly happened. The house was burned down. Why did the coroner resign, then come back a month later? Why did the police chief says no one's allowed to let's get this. Why? Then why did the coroner say no? The parents are not allowed to see their kids. Why is that? Because the kids didn't die. No one died. It was a bullshit story, and they ran with it.
Wait.
Why? Because the pictures you saw were kids who are now kids that are now older.
So basically, what you're saying is people did die, but not the people that you were saying, but not the people that were being propagated. Is that what you're suggesting?
No one died. No one died. They used the picture when they were little. Okay. These were older pictures they used. The media used it.
Right.
If they were dead, how come they're seen in the halftime at Super Bowl the following year? If they were dead,
I don't watch the Super
how come
Bowl.
They were seen? How come if they were dead? How come they were seen at the halftime at the Super Bowl in 2013?
Oh, the crisis actors. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of crisis actors.
This is the shit why Alex Jones was sued. Do you think they'll get the $1 billion? No, they're not going to get it. Why?
No, one, Alex Jones doesn't have it, and two, the attorneys who are, again, all part of the show pony bullshit, have publicly stated it's not about the money. They want Alex Jones off his platform. They want him silenced. They don't want anybody to be able to buy InfoWars that will keep him on his platform. They want the platform shut down and him silenced. That's what they want, because he's the front runner. He's the tip of the spear. That's why I said, if he wants to be the tip of the spear, let him be the spear. We will simply be the hand that guides it.
I'm sorry, I just had an epiphany. And it was a theory, but it was outside of what you were discussing, so I stopped. I stopped talking. But now I have to say it because it morally changes our compass's direction. Question. Here's the question. I'll provide the answer as well, but here's the question. Why would anybody lie about this? Right?
Why would anybody lie about what? Sandy Hook?
Why would anybody lie about, for lack of a better explanation, dead kids?
You keep the narrative going.
I don't know. I mean, I think dead kids would be more effective than not dead kids.
Exactly. Unless
if you check out if you check out a documentary called "We Need to Talk About Sandy Hook," it would show the chopper filming everything, following everybody around in the air. It's showing everything. Okay,
it's an orgy of evidence.
We need to talk about Sandy Hook.
So
it's a 3-parter by 3 people.
I'll tell you why I don't want to talk about it anymore.
No, he's referring to a documentary that's titled "We Need to Talk About Sandy Hook." That's what he's saying. He's referring to the title.
Yeah,
it blows out of the water.
Okay, so at which point, I would say refer people to the documentary and let them make their own determination.
Does this documentary prove that the children are still alive?
They're still alive.
Okay, I'm not, and I don't want to refute that. I don't want to say
the question is,
like you're wrong. But what I'm
Why
going
did
to
the police
provide,
block the entrances and exits?
what I'm going to provide is a reason. And once the reason is provided, we might never look into this kind of information again. You ready? There's a lot of dangerous and weird shit that happens in the United States, right?
Yeah.
In particular, yeah.
Would it be fair to say, without exaggerating anything, that children, they witness a lot of stuff, right? Kids, they witness things. And there's a very abhorrent criminal element that exists in both countries at this rate here. I'm no better than nobody else at that rate. And
Yeah.
what do we do with witnesses?
They silence them.
They get
Loose
killed.
ends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Right? Unless, from time to time, they've made movies about this. They've made movies about this. Unless from time to time, of course, right, that a witness with something so pertinent were to come forward and provide just information that's going to lock up hundreds of people, 50 people, hundreds of people, ridiculous syndicates, right? Yeah, but these kids, man, they're not talking unless we, the government, and I say we, the government, as in we, the people, because we are the people that make the government, unless we can protect these kids, we got to keep them safe, right? I'm talking about dude, we might be tampering with witness protection people, guys.
Yeah.
These kids have to stay dead. We can't be proving that they're alive, even if the documentary proves that they're alive. And I agree with you. But from time to time, we're going to fall into an area that's going to be very gray. And by proving these kids are alive, we're putting bullseyes on their back again. Because we don't know why they had to die the first time. Why do I believe
That
this?
is a fair point.
Because of everything that was brought up. The orgy of evidence, the chopper that was there, we're proving the shooting happened. Everything. Because we have to make damn well sure that we know that these children are dead. The word on the street is that the witness is no longer with us. Because these are fucking children. And if they're locking up to us, as grown-ass men, the coke dealer that's making $10,000 a month, well, I'm more worried about my politician. But the kid that locked that coke dealer up's got something to worry about. Make no mistake about it. And I'm afraid that we might be uncovering children that are supposed to be hidden while we're not hearing the voices of the children that are in the trafficking trade. Look over here while I do this over there. Every human falls victim to it all the time. That's why I kind of pulled an abrupt stop. I was like, wait a minute. I was like, if I'm right, if this is true, and this literally, I sank into my chair. That's why I kind of fell back with my head in my hand. I was like, oh no. I was like, because if we prove that they're alive, and because I've always been a big proponent of that, where people have said it wasn't the planes that hit the two towers, that it was missiles. But why do we have entire flight logs? Well, then I asked myself, I was like, dude, how many people does the United States have to hide every year because they have witnesses of grand crime? A couple of planes hitting a couple of towers, that's a few hundred people. That's a lot of witness protection taken care of in one incident that everybody sees happen.
Yeah.
So whether it's missile, whether it's plane, I won't dig too deep on that one because there's a possibility that the names on the registries all belong to individuals that must be dead, even if it's military personnel.
Yeah, let people like Trump, who are, if you're making the argument that Trump is exposing the elites, bringing down the globalist system, yada yada yada, let him and his people who have access to these files
And all the
and
information.
can see the whole fucking enchilada, let them go, okay, these people are in witness protection. We're going to redact that portion, or we're going to leave that official narrative in place in this. We're going to expose everything else. We're going to protect the people that the innocent people who need to be protected. You know, not the
So that
elites
would
that
be
need to be
like
protected,
saying,
but
so that's like saying the planes we were told hit these marks weren't the planes that were allegedly were in Diego Garcia.
yeah. Well, I mean, there's a big thing going on right now that they're looking to reopen the investigations into 9/11.
Well, yes, because there's a no planes theory.
Again, it's supposed to be like, well, these planes, plane number 1, 2, 3, plane number 1 and 2 aren't the real planes, but they were exchanged to look like them, but the real ones weren't in Diego Garcia.
Yes. And we knew nothing about Diego Garcia back then until Donald Trump put a bunch of fucking B-2s on Diego Garcia. Now Diego Garcia is an airbase we all know about.
Not just that. Here's a curveball on MH370. I was using the Google Earth app, right? Google Earth. Typed up MH370. Boop.
I don't know what the heck I just did. It said share your referral link.
Diego,
I don't know what
Diego
the hell
Garcia.
that is, but I hit that and posted that in the comments. I don't know what the hell that is. So if you're saying that, people, I don't know what it did. I just hit a button. I saw a button. I hit it. It's like, ooh, button. Let me push
Hit the tiny red button.
it. Hey, Mr. Giggles ain't the only one trying to get the launch codes.
When I used the app, it pointed where the plane was in Diego Garcia.
Yeah.
I think
now the thing is, if MH370 is supposed to be where it's at, okay, who's on the plane? Americans on the plane. Now, which ones? There were some Americans that were working on a project that was controlled by a Rothschild. Now, with which Rothschild that may be? Who owns this they're working on?
Mm-hmm.
Are you alluding to a repeat of the sinking of Titanic conspiracy?
No, MH370.
That's the plane that went missing. But I'm on board with the sinking of Titanic theory with the submarine that went under.
Yeah. People who have a lot of money and a lot of influence and voice, who may be opposing certain things that certain people don't want to be opposed.
I blame the Russians.
Well, let's just say that the Titanic isn't really the Titanic; it's the Olympic. Why?
I believe that
it's the only ship that caused more money and frustration. When the real Titanic, what the real Olympic is the real Titanic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which was scrapped in what year? 1936.
Yeah.
24 years after the sinking of the Olympic, who's not really the Titanic, but it's really the Olympic.
Why destroy your new toy when you can destroy the old toy just with a little bit of paint? A little bit of paint, make the old toy look like the new toy. Destroy that toy, and that way you still got your good toy.
Well, not just that, but put enough money on the insurance of the ship.
Yeah.
Sink the fucker, but also kill your competitors at the same time.
Yeah, they gave away free seats to the Titanic. Some of the largest pocketed individuals in the fucking East Coast. Like that bitch just sunk like 2-3 hours off the coast of where I live. Like the people that were on the Titanic, and that's what we always talk about. It's like, okay, well, who died? A bunch of people. No, but bro, who the fuck died? Who was on the planes? Who was on the Titanic? Because what we do know, the Titanic, a bunch of old money and a bunch of new money were both taken care. They were both on the Titanic, and once the Titanic sunk, regardless of any theory attached to it, just the human lives that were lost, it would become the greatest wealth transfer in the United States' and Canada's history. Because all of these dead rich motherfuckers' inheritance would go to a different grouping of people. Rich people give their money to their family, and so on and so forth. So the person who owned the Titanic parks the Titanic, labels the Olympic as the Titanic, sinks that bitch, collects the insurance money, and all the people that die on the Titanic turns into the largest and greatest transfer of wealth on the Northwestern Hemisphere back then.
Yeah, and that's why the captain went down with his ship, because he didn't go down with his ship. He was killed on the ship.
Everybody, it was all planned. Because now when they go down and they look at it, forget the name. There's still a ship at the bottom of the ocean that has huge tears in it that don't make sense, because when you look at the picture of the Titanic's holes, like where the iceberg hit,
Yeah.
right? And you have to search these images up in like the mainstream media traditional terms. So you're looking for the holes that the iceberg left. Once you find the pictures of the holes that the icebergs left, you're going to find something interesting about these holes. If you take a can of pop and you grab a fucking knife, you slash it on the side of the can of pop, and you cut your can of pop open, you're going to notice that your can went in an inward motion into the inwards, okay? But when you look at the hole on the Titanic,
It's outward.
It's outwards, which alludes to a blast happening on the inside of the Titanic and not an iceberg smashing it on the outside. Stupid people see a hole and just say, iceberg, hole, all makes sense, going back to work. But no one studied the hole. The reason why it's important to study the hole is because that makes the difference, the Titanic difference behind studying the hole decides whether or not it's an act of God or an act of murder.
And the tinfoil helmet has to come back on.
And that is what makes a good conspiracy theory. But the thing is that the fucking holes are blasted outwards. I can't think of a reason why it would blast in an outward motion, unless, of course, it's sabotage. Because if I'm not mistaken, the Olympic was used to travel military goods and explosives back in the day. It was an old ship. She was run down. She was going to fall apart. We were destroying her for a reason. We weren't sending her out the Atlantic hoping she would sink. We were sending her out the Atlantic making sure she would sink and blaming the Atlantic for sinking her. I live on the Atlantic Ocean. We've sent a few ships to and from, all made out of iron, ever since. The Atlantic Ocean doesn't sink ships. Blowing holes in the bottom of ships sinks ships.
Exactly.
I don't want to watch Titanic.
Right? Because it's now you're just going to be paying attention. There are fictional characters in the movie. They use the fictional character of Jack and Rose to tell you the story of the people that were on Titanic.
Yep.
They did this this made up sequel of Titanic where Jack was found frozen in ice and shit. And it's like years later, and he's the same person it was in the movie. Found out that Rose is dead.
Like Encino Man, shit. But it was fucking Jack from Titanic.
Yeah, I thought this is so fucking stupid shit. Whoever did it must be on crack or something. Like what the fuck,
dude? That's $1 million idea.
Yeah, he's
not
frozen in ice. He is frozen fish people.
I want to make a movie called Titanic 2, and I want to fucking thaw out fucking Jack and make it a fucking comedy. We'll make billions. It's gold.
They did a third one, but it was they did a more modern version of the Titanic, more modern, and it like same as it sunk.
Yeah.
Brand new yard ship that looked like the original. The movie sucked.
Yeah.
I couldn't watch it.
Are these actual movies or just like YouTube things?
A TV movie. Like, who in the fuck would watch this shit?
TV spinoffs. The person who fell victim to TV spinoffs the most would be fucking who wrote Stephen King. Stephen King would write a book, and then an amazing movie would come out, and a garbage TV series would follow. Like every time.
It's like, there's a guy who's doing a Titanic 2. But an actual ship, but it's like this was like 20 years ago.
Oh yeah, he rebuilt it, for lack of a better word.
Is it done yet? No, it ain't done. Gotta get the plumbing done. Ask your wife to do it, you son of a bitch.
Right? Might as well just reconstructed the ark at that rate.
No, they actually have one of those already.
It's all right. Remember, I'm the guy that doesn't subscribe to the ark. I do not believe Noah's Ark was a boat of any sort. I don't believe it was anything that floated on water at all. And I don't think it was a spaceship either. I believe the ark
for the longest time, Noah's Ark, I thought, what was the ark? A pair of titties. The hell, man.
Right? But have you guys ever stumbled across that one yet? That was a deep theory.
What, that the ark is a pair of titties?
No, that the ark is a gardening tactic.
I had not.
So now we know like that there's a few people that were supposedly quote unquote building arcs, and it was spelled ARK, I think is what we spell it, because they're trying to make it different because they named it a kind of boat. But then when I just said that it was ARC, that it was still just an arc, right? I said, well, what would I need that for? And then all of a sudden, YouTube algorithm, because I was a brand new account and I knew nothing and I hadn't researched any conspiracy stuff yet at all. The very first conspiracy that I ever looked into was Noah's Ark's conspiracy. Okay. And it's that now we know that who was it? We got Noah's boat, and then we got Gilgamesh's boat, and then there was, I don't know if there's another person that made a boat, but I also know that in the Mormons, Nephi made a boat. Right?
Yeah.
The point is, I can't remember. There's one of them that I can't remember which culture it is that made a boat. But the truth is that we have 4 flood stories and 4 boat stories that have been remembered throughout history. And this theory demonstrated that during the flood that there was 4 mountains that hadn't been completely inundated, and that on the top of these 4 mountains they found ark-like structures, not a boat, but physically like a rainbow on the ground, like an ark, and that it was all being irrigated. It was all being taken care of. It was someone had worked the land laboriously for a very long time to create these, to the point that this gardening tactic would be viewable from space. Because that's how it starts with who made all these arcs on these mountains is how it starts, the theory. And they're showing you these arcs on the tops of mountains, almost like when you're looking at a fossilized dinosaur style. So you kind of have to see what they're trying to show you. But once it's like magic eye, once it fucking hits, you're like, oh shit, it starts there and it finishes here, and holy fuck, that's big. And then I'm like, wait a minute. What's the one thing that we know about Noah and the ark? Was that the animals came to him willingly. They came to him 2 by 2. He didn't go and collect these bitches. The animals came to him. Can you tell me a reason why a grouping of animals that would not traditionally share space all of a sudden are sharing space? It's when they're at the bottom of the mountain and the water's rising. They start coming up the mountain. They start coming to Noah in an orderly fashion. But there's no boat to put these animals in. Just good old-fashioned farming and gardening. Because all these animals made it to the top of the mountain, and it became Noah and his family's job to take care of all of these animals. He was commanded to build an ark using gopher wood. I'd never really bought into the theory that he was told to build a boat. Could have been building flower beds. Ridiculously large flower beds, city structures, something that would take fucking
Containment pens.
the biggest thing that we could possibly imagine.
Would be extinct by now.
Gopher wood apparently here's the very interesting about gopher wood. Gopher wood's supposed to be extinct, overlogged, and one of the only places in the world that's apparently available in the United States. Like that's where it grew
it's somewhere near or around Florida.
Yeah, it's a
in
very
or around Florida, I think. I could be wrong. I could be dead wrong on that, but if memory serves correctly, in or around Florida.
Allegedly that he used gopher wood to build an ark.
Yeah.
Like, how long would it take to chop one down? I mean, fucking bolt, man,
right?
Because the tree got to be massive,
right? To carry one of every animal, that would be hard. But like creating like a zoo, something more like a zoo, where like they're all free roaming. We're at the top of the mountain. This is the best we've got, and we're all surviving on Noah's Ark, on Noah's gardening ark tactic, and he was the only man wise enough to create enough. That's why everybody laughed at him. What are you going to do with all of that food? And what are you going to do with all of this? And motherfucker was planning on feeding 2 of every animal that he knew was near him. Now, back then, your continent was your world. He wasn't worrying about the kangaroos somewhere else. Like he was worried about every animal that was sharing his landmass. Now we have to take into consideration continental drift. Things changed. Tra-la-la. What animals was he caring for? I can't sit there and make a detailed list. I don't know what landmass he was standing on when he did it. But I don't believe it was a boat. I think the thing they found in Mount Ararat is just another one of those look over here while there's an amazing discovery to be had over here situations. And that's a big reason why there's a lot of fighting in the Middle East is that mountain, because they think they have Noah's Ark, which is the only reason why Christians are interested in it. Right? Yep. Big reason to keep throwing rocks in a sandcastle.
Noah's Ark, the land regarding the Exodus. All these are holy sites.
They're all holy sites. They all got to be protected to one degree or another. But I don't think if there was a God, I'm sure he knew we were going to be idiots about it. But I don't think any of us. I don't think
there's one place on the mountaintop where allegedly where the ark was at, and they did this. They dug down and they found wood attached to some kind of metalish. And they drilled into it, got samples. That thing was old as like.
Well, I mean, let's operate on the assumption that what's at the top of Mount Ararat is Noah's Ark. If they want to confirm that, they can do underground 3D scans, just like they did with the pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
At which point, there you have your answer. Now. Here's a big problem that I have, and this kind of alludes back to the whole, are we going to space thing? Did Katy Perry go into space? Did we ever go into space?
You saw that?
Yeah, and it just kind of begs the question
that was wonderful. It backfired. I'm just like,
I know. I mean, there were so many things that would suggest that was complete bullshit, but we live in such an age, especially with artificial intelligence and what it can create now, we live in an age where evidence can be easily fabricated, and it's hard to determine what is actual truth and what is fabricated truth.
The only
we could be told the truth on so many things and still remain skeptical that it's possibly a lie, because we have the technology to fabricate the truth.
Are they inside? Like, okay, when these people are claiming they're going to space there, are they going to the kind of space that would affect like re-entry? Like, dude.
It should have, but there was no scorch marks.
Okay, thank you. Why is that shit fucking brand new? It looks like it came off the showroom floor. No way that thing fell through and went through a re-entry.
The one that did it, also, I think who did it was Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff entailed in that.
They got the money to build this shit and work.
And like,
here's my thing. All other arguments aside, Revan, it takes time to prepare your mind and body to go into space. Okay, you have to be trained. Your body has to be conditioned. You don't just go up there and do a photo op for 11 minutes and then come back down. Okay, and that's another thing. The amount of money that it costs to fucking do something like that, you're going to go up there for 11 fucking minutes for a photo op? Bullshit.
So who put them there though? Was it SpaceX? Like, did Elon put them up there? Like, who put them up there?
CNN.
CNN sent people to space.
Yeah, it was all CGI like bullshit.
Yeah, no, because the reality is that if this is real, then Elon Musk is the one that's doing it, and he's doing it as a flex and a swagger. And I got the celebrities in one of my rockets. And the only reason why I'm saying this is because he's the only motherfucker that has rockets that go up and come back and then go back up and come back. So we already know that his vessels
went up and didn't come back. It was just the capsule that came back.
Right. So if you're these celebrities and if you're Katy Perry and you're this are you doing it capsule style? Are you risking that, or are you literally coming home in a vehicle that you know can park, for lack of a better explanation?
Or did she actually go?
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Why use a space capsule, which we stopped using in the 70s, in lieu of the space shuttle? I mean, we've been using the space. I remember as a kid in the 90s watching space shuttles land all the fucking time. Why would they not use something like the space shuttle? I mean, yeah, you're not going to use Elon Musk's Elon Musk up and down ship, but you still have the space shuttle.
And the time to build their shit over time, and it worked. Now,
so you're suggesting it would have been cheaper to make up.
When you got 7 cunts, one by one, ding, ding, these nuts, ding, ding, for yourself, who could not even know? What do you play as a rocket pack? Up your ass, you sell cunt.
Because the space race is on again. Have you guys even noticed what Armstrong's been saying?
You put 7 broads who couldn't even cook a fucking egg on a fucking stove or an oven.
Women, we love you, but these people don't represent you.
Question: is that a jetpack, or are you queefing in space?
I thought it was. I thought it was just Katy Perry's dildo on a string.
Oh yeah, all it was a photo op. Or in space? No, you're in hell. Because we're watching you.
Yeah.
While queef-flying.
The amount of money that was lost just because they opened that fucking thing first by accident. That's what happened. We wouldn't be having this conversation if they didn't accidentally open that pod.
Here's the guys. Yep. Branson, Bezos, Musk, who has the money to create this kind of shit and do it over time, and it fucking works. You don't need CGI. You don't need 7 fucking flying cunts in a. Look at me. It's all put up. Bezos, Musk, Branson. These guys are billionaires who are guys who built their shit, who studied the shit, knows what they're fucking doing. You don't need 7 useless broads to quick fly. What the fuck, man?
Oh yeah, and if it was
I'm in space right now. See the alien behind me?
If it was a publicity stunt, like these bigger boys would have been involved in it. There's money to be made doing this, and if these men don't have their hands in it, then it's just not real. It sucks, but it's just not real.
Yeah,
I'm surprised they didn't add Dylan Mulvaney. What the fuck, man? What are you gonna do?
But all of these things, these are the kinds of stories that are used to distract people. And they have to be a little bit more creative when they're up against guys like us. So, like, to distract us, they tell us that it's going to be martial law on 420. And then 420 comes and nobody gets stoned and we ruin the fucking day.
Yeah. I mean, I was working, so I was making money, so I don't give a shit.
If I see this that again, I want to drink enough so I'm sure that I'll forget about it in the morning.
Wait, I'm trying to see here. Did anybody is there a way that you can put a video on here? Like, can you go to YouTube and put a video on this live screen?
I don't think so.
Okay.
You can if you try to. I mean, like, holy crap. Let me see here.
Maybe if I had more advanced features, if I actually paid for the full service.
Thank you.
I
Okay.
just got basic shit.
Let's see here.
Solo layout, remove range. I can't see nothing. Oh no. Connor's up to something. I really don't care if they wanted to waste billions of dollars putting a handful of cum dumps in space. Be my guest. This isn't some feminist thing. There are real women out there.
Yeah, there are real women out there who were astronauts, like Sully Wright.
Yeah, exactly. You got real women.
She's a legend, man.
Who did go up into space, and they're just these hoochies are just fucking making a mockery of that.
Yeah,
like I was in space for 11 minutes.
But then
so and so wasted billions of dollars to put me in space for my little photo op with the Kardashians.
But again,
as if those hoochies were even relevant anymore.
But again, you got Bezos, Musk, and Branson, who studied this stuff.
Yeah,
who wanted to build, and they actually did it, and it worked. You know, people went up there for a short time, but yeah, they went up there. They trained, they experienced it.
Yeah, and now you got a handful of hoochies who went up there like Katy Perry, and then did a fucking photo op with the Kardashians via live stream. As if the Kardashians were even relevant. It's like, sorry, Kim Kardashian was beat your meat material fucking 10, 15 years ago. Okay? You're old news, bitch. Nobody cares about you. You're a hoochie. Be gone with you. Okay? Nobody fucking cares. You're irrelevant. Stop trying to be relevant. And stop trying to make these people relevant. Nobody cares. Okay? That train derailed 15 fucking years ago.
Exactly, man.
Okay, you're not a sex symbol anymore, ladies. Go run your businesses, take care of your fucking kids, and leave the rest of us alone.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I don't begrudge anybody trying to live their life or whatever, but you know what? Your moment in this, for people like this, their moment in the sun has come and gone. Not that I ever cared about them to begin with. Yeah. Connor, what are you doing, brother? Big Connor. What happened to Connor? There he is.
Sorry.
You good?
Yeah, I was doing two things at once. Well, I thought I was good. Hold on here.
Apparently, we got an echo.
How's this?
Testing. Nope, still reverb.
Oh, yeah.
Now he kicked himself off.
Oh,
he's got to come out and come back in.
Well, about the Pope, the very first black Pope was Rodrigo Borgia.
Uh-huh.
He was the first black Pope.
So we're circling around back to the Pope?
Yeah.
I just work here, man. I don't know nothing.
Well, I mean, it's just that, the Pope, I mean, been around for over 1,000 years and shit, I mean, the worst ones were the ones that really were tyrannical, but the first black Pope was Rodrigo Borgia.
Yeah.
All right, so check this out. I should I should read titles far more effectively than I normally do. Go into the Facebook group chat if you guys can. And I sent a video there. It's like a minute and a bit, right? And it says, there it goes. Yeah. It says China tests H-bomb. And it actually says that they're checking to see the intensity of the blast. That's literally what I didn't even realize that. Because when I first saw it, it was just China tests. It's like they changed the title while I've seen it, and then like it's been anyway.
What can hydrogen destroy?
It's actually
Anything if the pressure's right.
click on it. Click on the video. Take a second and go click on that video because I kind of want to see a reaction. Because I don't think anybody expected something like this. Because I'm throwing the word H-bomb around like it's, you know what I mean? And people are thinking in their head like nuclear bomb, but like the detonation happened about, I think, like 20 seconds or 30 seconds into that video. The video is like a minute and 30 or a minute 19 seconds long.
Okay, let me get back on my computer.
Yeah.
We will do like what we did last week.
Yeah, because I kind of want to see a reaction because it's fucked. I feel like I'm overreacting, but then I'm like, wait. I was like, they don't really know that it happened. They found out during the broadcast.
Where did Reverend go? Reverend, bye.
He probably went to do exactly what I did. I went and I checked it and I came back and I had to leave the chat and come back for that to work.
Well, I'm going to cheat and I'm going to do it right here on my computer. I just got to go back in. And there he is.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a reaction.
So you sent it on Messenger?
Yeah, it's on the group chat on Messenger. Everybody does reaction videos about music videos and shit.
Yeah. A minute and 15 seconds.
Yeah, it's not very long at all.
I actually, one thing, atomic bomb will completely destroy everything and fry everything. Hydrogen is the thing that will not destroy a building. No. But it'll destroy structure like it'll kill us, but buildings it'll leave intact.
I don't know. I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you got a good enough blast radius, it's gonna freaking destroy whatever's in the path of the blast radius.
Did you press play yet, Tin Man?
I'm just getting onto Facebook right now. It took a second for my stuff to load up. Give me one sec.
This is gonna be cemented in history because like I'm gonna see your face when you see that. Because I dropped my phone.
All right. Let me go into Messenger real quick here.
And I'm not going to speak so that we can hear what's being said in the background.
Okay. You sent it to TWWRN?
Yep.
Okay. China's H-bomb allows precise control. Let's have a look at this. All right. I'm going to go full screen so you can see my reaction.
Thank you.
Readiness, Beijing has testified a non-nuclear hydrogen bomb. The test comes amid rising tensions in the South China Sea. The test induced a chain reaction that produced fireball exceeding
rapid military capabilities for combat readiness. Beijing testified a non-nuclear hydrogen bomb. The test comes amid rising tensions in the South China Sea. The test induced a chain reaction that produced fireball exceeding temperatures of 1,000 degrees Celsius. The bomb developed by China State Shipbuilding Corporation Research Institute allows precise control of a blast intensity. Researchers say it can spread uniform dispersion across vast areas and also carry out a concentrated strike on a single high-value point. Unlike nuclear bombs, the hydrogen bomb uses a material called magnesium hydride that is capable of storing more hydrogen than pressurized tanks. This concentrated ball of mass ignites with minimal ignition energy and unleashes sustained flames of hydrogen gas that raise outwards rapidly. China is ramping up production of magnesium hydride. Beijing has developed a big factory in South Sea that can make 150 tons of this material each year. Apart from military use, the device can also be used to power submarines.
Damn.
That's a solid boomer. Like that's what I mean when I say it wasn't just like a regular thing that we see every day. Like even the stuff that we see in Yemen and something like that. And yes, the whole point of using that device was totally for like shock and awe. I'm sure of it. But holy fuck, man! Like they're playing with those now.
I'm gonna backtrack it. I'm gonna show our viewers exactly what I just watched here. I'm not gonna show the whole video. I'm just gonna show the blast.
That produced fireball exceeding temperatures of 1,000 degrees Celsius. The bomb developed by China State Shipbuilding Corporation Research Institute allows precise control over blast intensity. Researchers say it can spread uniform destruction across vast areas and also carry out a concentrated strike on a single high-value point. Unlike nuclear bombs, the hydrogen bomb.
That's a big fucking boom. And my theory of like, I think they're trying to figure out, can they get the wave to a certain height? I think seeing this now and rereading the title, I have to go back to what I was saying earlier and say, I really believe that they're trying to raise the water to enable an invasion that is outside of the tidal window. So they don't have to depend on the tides to get on. But yeah, we've been at it for a bit, and we jokingly, mockingly, and seriously covered the Pope. We covered China and Taiwan. We've covered, without being ridiculous, we tried to cover some current events in other directions, different psyops and things of that nature. I think we really, we sunk our teeth into a lot of different things this evening. And honestly, I that epiphany of maybe we should let the dead children be hidden. I think we should apply a little bit more thought to that and see if there's traction behind that theory. Is there traction behind these individuals that are being seen that are supposed to be dead? Are they supposed to be protected in one way, shape, or form? Right. That's something that I've been thinking about a lot this evening since it hit my brain. I don't want to prove that dead children are still alive. Not understanding that we have witness protection programs that exist, not knowing full well that these children might need to be protected and they might need to be quote unquote dead on paper for a reason. I don't want to chase this anymore. Not in that substance. Now, bring me a list of children that are not being heard properly and are involved in the child trafficking and need a voice. I'll scream. Don't worry. I'll yell to the fucking rooftops. But I want to be very careful as this new tiny little epiphany hit my brain that maybe we're trying to hide people for all the right reasons. And here we are fucking digging them out and for the whole world to see. I think we should tread lightly on that one and be kind and courteous and so on and so forth. And as professional as possible, of course. But we touched on a lot of issues today, guys. And I hope that you know, I hope we have something fun to laugh about next Tuesday. We'll see what the world brings us on another 7-day cycle, I guess, because I said that last week and look at where we are now. So we'll see what happens this time next week.
So, Revan, you got any thoughts for next week, perhaps? Any
Yeah, I've been wanting to do a talk about. Well, I'll probably have something for part later, and I'll let you guys know.
Yes, pick a topic, and I'll deep dive any topic you give me, and then you guys can like agree, disagree, or redirect because I didn't understand the information. But I'll deep dive anything. You just got to tell me what you want to talk about that day.
Yeah, we'll just let history set the stage, and we'll come out when it's curtain call.
Pretty much.
Got one.
Uh-oh, who's got one? You got what?
I mentioned it during the very first rock table. And I'm talking about organized government gang stalking. trafficking, all that shit, you know.
Yeah.
So like
Program,
the CIA's black businesses.
program done by Robert Duncan.
Okay, we can dive into that for sure.
We'll look into that. That's a great deep dive.
Because this here is an actual program. I know somebody who's being trafficked, but also a TI.
Not trafficked, targeted.
Targeted
Well,
individual.
it's same thing metaphorically, you know.
No, that are you talking about the person who's been hit by direct energy weapons?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's not trafficked. That is targeted and psyop. We don't want to misrepresent the facts.
Well,
Be very careful with our wording. They're not being trafficked. You know, they're not in sex slavery. They're not in.
well, it's a different kind of trafficking. It's more of a
This person caught up in some bullshit and got a bullseye on their back.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that for right now. And
I'll look into Duncan, and you look into Jordan Maxwell, and then we'll smash.
Look up two books. Two books. Operation. Two books. One is Operation Soul Catcher, and How to Tame a Demon.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Audiobook please.
So, and I think that we pretty much
because this would definitely, because the thing is, it's been, look, we're all being covertly stocked, covertly in a way.
Oh yeah, like I was saying, you know, I come out of retirement and all of a sudden my electric bill is over $1,000.
Always.
I wonder.
All right,
granted, other people are being targeted as well, but you know, I wouldn't put it past them.
Right. I'm gonna call it a night. I'm 20 minutes over budget, but that's okay. So I'm gonna let you do the close, Tin Man.
No problem. I think we've gone as far as we could down this rabbit hole today. Next week, we'll come back with bigger shovels.
Yes, sir.
So, until then, this is the Tin Man with the Resistance. If you're watching this, you are the Resistance.